And when y'all think about TV, television, television? Think about it, television. When you think about that, when you look in the 80s and 90s, we had black shows that showed healthy families together.
Yes.
But now, when you really realize the media pushes certain things because that's what they want. They want us at war with each other.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
They want that.
So we're moving on to our next segment with our wonderful guests. I have Maya Hawkins. I have Sarah. And what's your last name?
Bolger.
And you got that from who?
John.
That man right there. And then we have Manuela. What's your last name?
Kawate.
Oh, I can't pronounce that. Then we have E-Rock.
ATL, E-Rock.
What's going on?
Real West Side Atlanta. Bro.
Real West Side. Not the fake one. All right. So, like.
And who are you?
Me?
Let's go.
Dennis.
Like it's gold.
I'm just chatting. I'm Dennis. The page name is Honor. I don't know. It's kind of like a midlife crisis or identity.
Oh, this is Dennis Gould. Do you want your last name? It's already on there now. Sorry. Dennis Gould.
I'm actually kind of
AKA Honor.
Y'all got some work to do.
Anyway.
Editing's crazy.
So, do women hate men or do men hate women? So my angle here is who really started the gender war. So we want to explore the roots of the resentment, the feminism, the red pill, and the shared trauma. Now, I'm going to open with this. It is controversial, yes. Did I put this in the podcast for views?
Yes.
I didn't say that. Somebody did, though.
Yes.
And so, with that being said, kind of just like going into like what it is, because I feel like all of us really have shared experiences, but our experiences and our perspective is subjective. And as a result, we can't make generalizations about the other gender without actually knowing or understanding somebody else's perspective of view, especially since every single person on this earth is different. So with that being said, to unpack, I'm going to start off with the first question. Where do you think the gender divide really began?
Adam and Eve.
No beginning.
There was Adam. And
The
then
beginning.
God said, ooh, this isn't working out with just the one here. We're going to go ahead and make the, I hate to even, there's a lot of talk about the helper word. But, you take the rib, made Eve, brought Eve to Adam, okay? People missed that part. Brought Eve to Adam, presented Eve to Adam, and Adam accepted Eve. That's where you get the he who findeth a wife. Not like going out and seeking, but like when the woman is brought to you, that you can recognize that she is a wife material, if you want to use that phrase. But there are a lot of wives that are brought to men and they don't recognize it, and they lose opportunities because they're immature or just not there yet, whatever it is. Anyway,
so
I digress.
What community though? She talking about as a whole.
So yeah, you're tired, but I kind of wanted to add to that.
Because other community.
Exactly. It's
true.
an American thing, but I would disagree that it happened with Adam and Eve. Because, the thing about it is, for the helper specifically, that was to pretty much like boost the things that he needed. He looked at Adam and he said, yeah, we got man, but we could add to this. So from Adam came the woman, but it was never a thing of a divide or anything being separate. They were one by marriage.
Sure.
So there was a oneness there that God always intended. So I don't think that anything that God has done specifically caused a divide.
It wasn't what he did.
No.
Thank you.
It was
so,
what you and
thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Yes.
even if you're not a Christian,
Yes.
everybody talks about Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Just the story. Even
Yes.
if you think of it as a parable or anything like that.
Yes.
It wasn't what God did.
Yes.
It was the free will that he allowed us to have and the mistakes and the sins that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you aren't a Christian, you don't believe any of that, I feel like that is literally, I see that very often, like, oh, there go Eve. Why she had to do that? Adam, he was just trying to keep the peace. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I feel like socially, even just that as a social topic, as something that people, since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But I think what's changed, though, was how people think of that story.
I think they take it out of
Because
context a lot.
the story didn't change. Not even context. The story didn't change. Women's opinion about the story changes.
Yes.
So they wasn't saying nothing about Eve doing. It was just a mistake that humankind made. It wasn't just like, oh, let's use this to pit men against women. That wasn't always happening. That was, I think, kind of an American societal.
Thank you so much. Western society, yes.
Right. So, like when, let's say around World War II, World War I, right? I think things started developing that gave women kind of opportunities to not have to stay in their
There was a beginning of
the
liberation.
role that they had before,
Yes.
which, by the way, people didn't think was bad before.
No.
The feminist movement or whatever, this like men against women thing, that happened like later,
Yes.
right? So before it was fine. Yes, women cook and be in the house or whatever. Like no one like had beef with it. Now that it can't not work, now that you have the choice whether you want to have a baby or not, whether you have the choice whether you can work or not, then it kind of, I feel like that's when more opinions were had, where people were like, no, let's keep it traditional, let's not keep it traditional. So I think like that is where it started, how there were people who wanted to keep things traditional and didn't want to. So people change their mind about what they think it's okay for like women and men to do, and that's what changed, not this what happened in the Bible. That stayed the same, and people changed their opinion on how they see the story now.
Yes.
Because people didn't always think like that.
Because society changes.
So they're going to use it to feed their agenda. However, whatever.
Exactly. They use
I
the Bible.
I feel like it's a systemic thing overall.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing. I got friends of damn near every race. Period. Like I just do. The black community as a whole, on social media, women and men bash each other. But overall, I still don't feel like overall that it's a problem. Like men and women hating each other. I think a lot of that stuff is cap, honestly.
Race bait.
Because when you really realize it, a lot of women and men, they continuously create these broken households over and over with each other. Like say you got this one woman who go back to that same baby daddy who got 5, 6. You know, I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
So if she really hates this man, why does she keep having kids by him? And vice versa. A man talking about these heifers ain't this and that, but it's like, bro, like you going back home to so and so and you sleeping with so and so. So how you really hate her? On social media, it's a thing on both sides where people are trying to create this war to make it seem like it's more than what it is. And like I said, when I say systemic issues, when you go back in time, you realize that a lot of black women and men were separated from their families, right? And with that created some type of resentment between both sides. But the couples who rose to the top and stayed together, those were the ones who ended up creating healthy black households and families, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when you stick together and realize that the system is against you, but you don't let the system affect your overall well-being, you'll realize that we don't really hate each other.
We don't.
We got to come together, and that's where I'm at with it. But as a whole, I don't think women and men really hate each other. I would actually...
People who say they do, like the people who are like, I hate all men, or the men who say I hate all women, I think they really just have problems with themselves.
Exactly.
Because we are all human. Men and women have feelings. Men and women have trauma. Men and women have oppression. So, like, they have their own problems too. You know, I can't, because he's a man, this is the problem. Or because you're a man, I have to hate you just because you're a man. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. And when y'all think about television, television, think about it, television. When you think about that, when you look in the 80s and 90s, we had black shows that showed healthy families together.
Yes.
But now, when you really realize the media pushes certain things because that's what they want. They want us at war with each other.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
They want that because the television is literally promoting certain things.
Yeah.
But if me and Dennis and Maya and what's her name? Sarah and this superstar, we all came together and said we're gonna create a show supporting black families coming together.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna really try to sweep that to the left. But if we said let's create a show about Sarah fighting her husband and hell yeah, that's what we want to promote.
Right.
So
Sarah ran him over with a car.
So it all so overall it's a
Yeah.
media thing, man. That's a
I
whole.
think of so many early 2000s movies about men against women. I don't know if you know the movie How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. All about old women trying to tricking this hot shot guy into falling in love with her and then leaving him in 10 days and then posting a magazine about it. Literally since I don't know how long there has been movies about women against men or trying to, I don't know, trick a man with their seductivity and all these kinds of things. It's society, it's the system, it's all that. And to push agendas of apparel or just to be better or not just to be better, but to get a man or do something. How about you wear this corset or wear this or use that or use lipstick, makeup or men?
What if people get all kinds of surgeries? Literally, it's crazy.
But
videos are
to have power in a sense of being a high value woman or have that against a man. You know what I mean? So yeah,
I support women empowerment groups and men empowerment groups as well. Though I'm gonna tell you why, because sometimes you might have a homegirl who just got out of an abusive relationship or something, and it doesn't mean that y'all come together and bash men. It just sis, I'm gonna pick you up. Let's do these activities. Let's have each other back. But it ain't a bash-a-thon. That's why I support it, because I'm sometimes you need that sister or brotherhood. I done seen brothers get cheated on saying, wait, man, I thought she loved me, bro. Man, keep your head up. But I ain't telling the motherfucker, man, fuck these women, man, fuck all these girls. Nah, bro, it's bro, she just ain't see your worth, my boy. Keep your head up. Right. And sis, hey, he ain't see your worth. It is what it is, sis. You gonna meet a man who really gonna pour into you and speak life over you and provide for you. That's how we gotta talk. We can't be on no social media shit. Man, fuck all these women. Nah, bro, that ain't cool.
I hate the generalized all men are this, all women are this, because now maybe that's all you have been looking for. Look back at your relationships. What have you been putting out there? What have you been trying to get from people? Maybe you need to go a different angle in dating. Maybe you'll see some different men out there. Oh, I don't like no soft men. Maybe you actually need a soft man. You've been looking for a hood nigga that loves the Bible at the same time, and you want one foot in the word and one foot out the word. Maybe you need to.
They gotta come to the west side of Atlanta. They want a hood nigga.
maybe look for a nice boy. I don't know.
So
try something different.
So, question really quickly, just to kind of summarize a few of the points, because you guys just kind of really flow through a lot of the conversation. But it's is it hate or hurt? And we touched on hurt because it's not hate. There are incels out there, men who don't like women they would much rather women die. And there are, different religions out. It's kind of one of those things where it's it is a sexual thing, but it's a sexual hurt based on rejection and shame based off of how they look, and a very, very deep-rooted form of body dysmorphia as well too. There's a lot of things happening inside of their brains. But let me finish summarizing real quick, because I started to get in the bushes. I'm sorry, but it is in fact hurt. They hate them, but in fact, it's because they're hurt. And I feel like hurt is the catalyst for the gender war. So I don't think that it has started any time, going back to the first question. I feel like the divide starts when you're hurt by somebody else. So even when we were talking about the online conversations, do they reflect real life? Y'all floating at that too. I didn't send you the wisdom card, but you hit both topics, or maybe you was just looking at the phone. I don't know. No. But it came out naturally. Yeah. Do online conversations reflect real life? They do not. Because of...
Oh, that was a question.
Yeah, they don't. It is the media and the television that do things and they get into people's heads and all that other stuff. The last question I want to unpack is, do we actually want equality or revenge? And then I'm going to throw something in there as well, too. Like, do we, just want to be healing? Like, do we actually just want to treat one another nicely? Just so that way we can get over things. I know that there are times and a lot of, Bible verses, they get taken out of context. It's like, women, submit yourselves unto your husbands. And then literally the comma, men, submit yourselves unto your wives. Mm-hmm. And it's God's intended purpose. And I just don't, it's like they stop reading once they, get the context that proves how they feel versus like the transformation. But do we actually want equality? Do we want revenge? Or do we actually want healing?
Revenge on who?
The other gender. Based off of the rejection or the shame systematically put inside of that person. And it's not real.
If they want revenge, Mr. Dennis, they need healing, bro.
They need healing.
Yes.
Even if you don't believe in the Bible or anything, one great saying is treat people how you want to be treated.
Man.
And I that's something I was told as a kid, and I was just like, okay, I don't want to get hurt. I'm not gonna hurt you. I don't want to get slapped. I ain't gonna slap you. So I want peace. Whatever that looks like. Whatever that looks like.
So I have a slightly off-topic bit. It's not totally off-topic, but I was listening to something on Instagram or however the other day, and it was talking about how some men don't really like women. And it's not like a gay thing.
Incels.
It's like men who, like, a woman has, like a monthly cycle. Their emotions change. They have these characteristics. They usually like to talk. These are the kinds of things that they like to talk about. These are the kinds of things that they think about. And this is how they think. There's, like, things that are characteristic of women that men do not like. Like, they do not like that the women's emotions are changing over. They do not like that they have to deal with da-da-da-da. And it's like, there are men who don't like women from that aspect.
Yeah.
They may like how women look. They may like to have sex.
The
idea of a woman, the idea of marriage, the idea of a wife sounds great, but when they actually get down into it, they don't like the word women. And it goes both ways, right? It's like, yeah, men are great. They can be sexy, da-da-da. And then, but it's like, but this is how men think. Are you willing to deal with that? Are you okay with that being a part of your life for the rest of your life? And it's like, do you actually like the way that men are characteristically, things that are ingrained in the gender? Because there are things like that. And so I don't think anybody hates anybody, but it's like, I do feel like that's a factor, though. And I do feel like that's a factor. It's like, do you know the characteristics of the gender that you're attracted to well enough to know that you're okay with and, desiring to be with that, to deal with that, however, over the course of your life?
Yeah.
I think that is probably another catalyst for the gender war as well, too. The fact that it's like my own subjective opinions and feelings, I'm going to go ahead and just spread the hate. Why not? And, I think that is like unnatural. I think that is like an unnatural feeling to have towards one another. Because, God really made us. So it's like I can look at you and say that there are things about you already that I don't like just because you're a woman.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to me. But
without the healing, though,
without the
there's
healing,
some trauma mixed in there too.
Without the healing. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I was doing some test pods in my room by my chair, and one of the things was, okay, let me see what trending topics are. So I'm gonna inject the hot topics. It's good for kids, anyways. So black men in media, basically what you were saying as well too. I feel like that is heavily contributing to the gender war, quote unquote. You have Diddy and Cassie. You have Shannon Sharp and that 19-year-old. You have DDG and Halle. You have Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. And those were wedges. So even when we're talking about like comments, and then you go straight to the comments. Men like you, men like these. This is the reason why women are not listening to our logic. Women are crazy. Why have these women not healed? Men are disgusting. They're dirtbags. I wish all men would die.
it's the lack of understanding.
Yes.
Serious lack of understanding.
The lack of understanding, because I struggle to understand how my husband thinks. And I'm sure he struggled to understand how I think. If like,
Nothing dramatic in mind.
So it's like, it's just, even as people who have literally known each other for 8, almost 9 years, been together for 7, like, we are still struggling to understand how us as a man, a woman, just human work. But the thing is, like, if all of my experiences with men have been negative, which most of them actually have, and I have harbored that and taken that into a man thing. Of course, every man I get with, I'm a hate, men. Like, if I took, most of my exes cheated on me. All of them, actually. If I thought that about every single person I met, it's going to affect or hate, eventually start to hate
you're
men,
You're
or
just like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
So
Why?
that subjective experience is the thing that contributes to, that wedge that kind of like, oh my goodness, let me make this generalization, but you don't make that generalization.
I mean, I try not to, but I mean, the trauma, it happens. The healing is still happening, but it's like, it didn't stop me from looking at him as his own individuality.
And
it did make me look at him as, okay, he is also this guy, this guy, this guy, and that guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And women and men, they do all the same things. Like, he's talking about, oh yeah, she hurt me, she cheated on me. That don't mean that every single woman is going to do the same thing. And I feel like I hear that a lot about, women, blah, blah, blah. They this, they, that. And I'm like, why make that generalization?
At some point, you got to look at yourself. If every single, and I'm like, not even like saying that anyone is deserving of anything like that, but it's like, what energy am I putting out in the world? What am I accepting? What am I missing in my discernment? Like, what is it? Because it's not every man, it's not every woman who like is a certain way. But if you are continually getting that same thing over and over again, it's like kids in a class. If everybody's failing, at some point you gotta look at the teacher. It's like, okay, so where's the actual problem?
And if it's not the teacher, it may be the curriculum, which may be your trauma that you are bringing out that you don't know you are.